Welcome back to Sacramento Smooth Jazz. I'm Michael Andrews, and as I indicated before the break, that we'll be discussing or having a conversation with Brooke Alford, the artist of the violin. And what I'm going to do, we're going to get right into it. We don't want to take up too much of our time. We are so grateful to have her today, and we're going to go over a lot of information about her. I mean, she is amazing, and I'll touch on her bio throughout the conversation. Brooke, how are you today?
I am feeling amazing, progressive, present, and just really thankful in this moment in time.
When I get answers like that, I go into mindset. It tells me someone's totally plugged in, engaged with life.
True.
And really producing some things that's going to yield some great results. I was reading your bio. I see that you're out there in Atlanta. Yes. Known as the artist of the violin. And just to help the listeners who haven't had an opportunity to maybe go to your website, and we'll show them how to do that a little bit later. I see that you've been doing this now 14 years. You've had an opportunity to open up for the Whispers, Mint Condition, Paul Taylor, Marion Meadows, Najee, Will Downing. I mean, I can go on and on, but you've also have done some recording with Bob Baldwin, Marcus Anderson, Dante Khan, Alex Bouillon. This is really amazing. In an industry of jazz, is predominantly with horns and things of that nature. How did it come to be to where you say, listen, despite what it is, this is me. I'm the artist of the violin. How do you fit in that? How do you want people to know you fit in? I mean, you see where I'm going with this?
Absolutely.
How do you feel when you're making your mark in there in an industry that's with other instruments for the most part?
Well, it actually goes back many, many years before, of course, this moment or whatnot, because when I was studying music in school and college, I hung out with a lot of the jazz musicians. And I hung out with everybody, really, but there was just something that intrigued me about the jazz and the world music musicians. Mm-hmm. So I started spending time with them, and they just showed me a different angle of music versus Western European classical, which I absolutely love because that's my roots. That's where it started for me when I started playing piano as a young girl, and my mother introducing me to classical music. So, when it came to that whole thing of I play the violin, I didn't even see myself playing the violin as far as just seeing my instrument and saying, okay, this is a violin. I saw it as a vessel, like as a vehicle for me to be able to express myself, and I happened to love it. And When I was working with these different jazz students that happened to be my friends, it gave me this courage to just play and not be afraid. So among my peers who were studying Western European classical, a lot of them were not willing or not even brave enough to just, hey, I'm going to play something else besides this piece. I want to play, I'm not going to play what, I would listen to on the radio because that's a little scary. I have to listen and feel it and come from a different space. And so I said, well, I feel all of it, and I'm going to play this music because I really like it. And I grew up, my background is so vast when it comes to what my parents exposed me and my siblings to. My father exposed us very early, soul music, gospel, my mom, classical, exposing us to all the vinyl, back in the day. And so we heard real authentic sounds and percussive music. So growing up like that, and then being a performer, my mom was like, you were a performer from the day you were born. We knew you were going to be a performer because you jumped on stage fearlessly and danced. And so I was a dancer at 3, and I sang at 4. I was singing solos. I just was not afraid. So I think it's just that courage of saying, this is what I got to say. And a lot of my peers, just going back to college years, a lot of them were like, oh my gosh, Brooke, I can't believe you played that on your senior recital. How did you play that bluegrass tune on your senior recital? How did you play that jazz tune on your senior recital? I would be so scared. And I was like, because this is music that I love, and music is big, and it's bigger than what we're studying right now. So, yeah.
You're doing and have done what most people are afraid to do, and that's just go into the area of the unknown and just follow your passion. Mm-hmm. Having your bachelor's degree under the prestigious Florida State University College of Music, it's no wonder you will have a passion for education, considering who your parents are, and they understand and value. They're both educators. Your dad, rest in peace, he an educator, your mom as well. And so understanding the power of music and the value of that shaped you at a very early age, I see.
Yes, it did. And my parents never, ever forced anything on me and my siblings. Like, I can say never, except to excel, to be at our best, and to always finish what we start. That is what they did heavily instill. Right. Almost on a borderline of force, but no, it was an instilling. Right. Like, you will not type thing. But it has stuck with us into our maturation. So me, my brother, and my sister, we came out good. Right. and a lot of people tell us, wow, you must have had some really good parents. And it's like, you don't think about those things when you're just going about life and seeing it through your eyes and your mind. You're like, oh yeah, my parents did have a lot to do with this.
Right. It's like you do give them credit after all. You're like, yeah.
Yes, you do. And you're like, they were doing that because they had already seen or just from their own life experience, of course. So I am grateful. I'm grateful for the time that they put into us and invested in us and nurtured us in our creative arts and our desires and what we gravitated to. So they never forced anything. And anytime I would practice, my mom was like, you used to practice at like 1 and 2 a.m. And I just let it help me fall asleep. And I was like, really, Mom, you didn't want to come in and tell me to stop? And she's like, no, I knew you loved it. And so both of my parents, they had to be up at like 5. So they didn't interfere or interrupt, that process of me developing. And so I can't even really express how grateful and the gratitude that I have for their humility in this whole process of this.
Going through your schooling, and I'm seeing here by the time you reached high school, the violin became the primary focus. Is that when you knew that this was really what you wanted to do at that moment?
I knew at the age of 12 that I wanted to play the violin, and that's really all I wanted to do. I am a multifaceted person. I am able to do multiple things as far as athletics, because I ran competitively. I was a pretty good athlete as well. And yeah.
Yeah, I see that. I want to talk about that in a minute. I'm like, folks, if you just tuned in, we're talking with the artist of the violin, Brooke Alford, and she's giving us some insight into her world, and we'll be sharing more of her music in the broadcast. But that's a segue, since you talked about the health and wellness aspect of things. I was talking with a colleague of yours, Mr. Antoine Knight.
Yeah.
And I told him that I'll be having a conversation with you. And then he says, oh, you do know how he gave me the whole background. I'm like, this world is so small. It is absolutely small. And he gave me some insight into your focus on health and wellness. So since you brought that up, let's talk about the fact that you have been a former fitness competitor in the 5 and 10K races, bikini model, fitness model competitor. I mean, let's talk about that. I mean, 'cause that speaks to your focus, diligence, competitive drive, obviously, to make some things happen. So are you still in competitive fitness and running?
Presently, no, I am not competing at this moment in time. However, it is something that I do aspire to get back to, because it just fuels me differently. But I remember my father saying, because he was also an athlete as well, tennis player and runner, and we actually ran races together. So he would tell me, Brooke, you're able to do multiple things. It's not because of, okay, you're talented, absolutely, but it's your mindset. It's you. And you just happen to have translated that to multiple crafts and just multiple abilities, because being an athlete, there's a discipline that comes with that, especially when you are an individual athlete. Like, running is an individual sport. Yes, you have team moments, but you have to, carry your weight. You have to do the work and train and show up. And so it's the same thing with music. You have to do the work. You have to train. You have to show up. And you have to give every time. So it really translates to be the same language. It's just expressed differently through the performance, but it's all still the same. So I apply those same tools and the same type of regimen to each thing that I do, because the way you do one thing is how you do everything. And so that's how I operate in anything that I do. I make sure it's with excellence. I do my best And unfortunately, because we are one human, we can't give 100% to everything. So that's why it has to be focused and streamlined so that you're not just pouring out and drying yourself up. So it's a blessing and a curse to have many things that you're good at or able to do. But at the same time, you still have to be wise and you have to ask for that wisdom and that guidance so that you can make the right decisions and live on purpose and live in your purpose as well, and not sway just because you're good at something. Oh, I'm gonna do this just because I'm good at it. Nah, but is it really helping you on your purpose-driven and focused life? So yeah, all of that to say, I am grateful for the path and just for the athleticism, the musicianship, all of that I've been able to experience. I knew at the age of 12, I wanted to be a performer on the violin. I didn't know what, I didn't know how. At one point, I wanted to play with Barry White's orchestra. I wanted to play movie music. I just love music that touches soul. And so I was like, wherever I gotta go to do that, that's what I want to do. And yeah.
You're inspiring, because I'm listening to you. The things in which I've read thus far, I'm not surprised. For example, people need to know that back in 2012, you began training to compete as a fitness and bikini model competitor. In your first fitness competition, you connected with some people, but it was your determination, your focused effort, your drive that helped you, I'm reading here, resulting in a 20-pound fat loss and 6-pound muscle gain in 2 months. Mm-hmm. In 2 months. And that's focused effort. And that helped you to be a competitor in the competition. And I'm reading here, it's like you placed very well, placed mm-hmm. first in your division. This is because of your focus, drive, and effort. That is motivating, inspiring many people at all ages, which leads me into another area of what you do. And that is you teach the violin for all ages. And so people can connect with you online and now get you as their instructor for what it is that they're trying to do with the violin. Tell us a little bit about that part there.
Oh, absolutely. And I just wanted to just kind of finish what we were saying in regards to the fitness and wellness piece, that in the present time of today, although I'm not competing, I am advocating for wellness and holistic living and balance. And so as a creative, it can get very difficult to balance your life and to not overdo certain things and get it out of whack, because if the central is not together, which is your mind, your body, and your spirit, then it's hard to produce things that are balanced. So I focus a lot into that. And I know that's a whole nother conversation to have.
And I'm glad you went back to that, because it goes back to the balance, where here you are, the balance when it comes to nutrition. You're spending time in your vegetable garden, I understand. Mm-hmm. You love to spend time there, and which goes into you preparing and enjoying, it says here, nutritious vegan cuisine.
Absolutely.
And so you are the epitome of health, determination, and focused effort. You know what I mean? You're just doing it. And I think it's inspiring for anyone at any age. Mm-hmm. The whole part right there, the vegan cuisine, I have a lot of questions there, but that's a whole nother show.
Nother conversation.
It is because I've experienced some of those things. At first I was like, no, I'm good. But I've had some dishes and I'm like, that's vegan?
Well,
come on.
It goes further, at least from my experience. It's further than the food. It's about the mm-hmm. benefits. And it's about what comes from basically tapping into food that is of life and higher vibration versus food that's not. So the benefits that come from that, the clearer state of mind, the healing of your body naturally, the intuition, the just overall tapping in, as I know that's a very, common or popular term of tapping in, literally being able to access yourself. It's kind of like having a cell phone and you only use 30% of mm-hmm. it. But then when you really tap in, you're able to get the full access of that phone or that device, which is your body, and really understand it and be able to utilize it to get you where you need to be. So yes, that path has really, and it started in inspiration of my father's transition. But like I said, that's a whole nother conversation to have for sure.
Right. Absolutely. Wow. And we're going to have that conversation in the future, that's for sure, because people need to understand that too. And why not share it? Now, I want to, tell the people about, what they can do if they're interested in learning the violin, how they can connect with you on that.
Well, yes, I have a violin and viola studies program. I've had the opportunity to work with students all across the country, even internationally, through other programs in which I am affiliated with, the Mark Wood International Program, summer music program, which I'm actually going to be flying out to Kansas for in July. So I'm really looking forward to that. And with my program, the Violin and Viola Studies program, I work with students virtually and in person, just depending on where they're located. However, I do have a limited amount of students that I even take on. Of course, for many reasons, I want to make sure my focus is centralized and, make sure it's fair for my students, as well as with my travel schedule and my performance schedule. So you just have to really be careful how you disperse your energy because, that's the balance.
Now, speaking of your schedule, I'm looking at some events coming up. Let the people know, and I'll share it on our Instagram page here at Sac Smooth Jazz, and I'll even have a connection with you there. But let the people know where you're going to be. And you did mention Kansas, and I see that's coming up on the schedule. But it looks like you're going to be in New York, actually on the 11th. In fact, let me just read it to make things a little simpler here. I'm looking right at it, and I'm kind of feeling the vibe, like Michael just read the thing. Yeah, just read it, so I got it. So you're going to be in New York, Queens, New York on the 11th, New Jersey at the Trenton War Memorial on the 17th, the 18th, the Juneteenth celebration in Lithonia, Georgia. And as you mentioned, Kansas, there's Summer Camping Festival over there in Kansas. The Philadelphia Marriott for the Zeta Phi Beta reception there in Philly on the 21st of July. And on the 31st of July, Costley Mill Park, there at the Summer Concert Series in Conyers, Georgia. Did I get that correct?
Yes.
Awesome. And so where can people find you online?
Yes, the hub is definitely the website, Brooke, Brooke, Alford, ALF as in Frank, ORD, violin.com, Brooke Alford Violin.com. That will have everything from social media icons that you can just easily click on and go to those pages, all the way to music, downloads, even physical copies. Because some people still like CDs. I like the tangible sometimes. So I definitely like to cater to those who prefer something physical. And so we have those, as well as, yes, the upcoming performances, which the calendar will be changing because, of course, new dates come along as well. And so the upcoming dates, as well as joining my VIP mailing list. So you get notifications first, and you get to get a little deeper inside the artistry and just see a little bit that's what's going on. And so that's my VIP list. And just some cool videos and photos, all that stuff on the website that you can check out right there, BrookeAlfordViolin.com.
Now, folks, if you didn't get a chance to write this down, no worries. I'm going to have it on our Instagram and Facebook pages at Sac Smooth Jazz, so you'll have the connections there as well. And I am really thrilled to have this moment to speak with you, to learn more about you. Your website has a plethora of information about you, no doubt. And so people can come away going, wow, I know a lot more about her. And people like to connect with those they enjoy listening to. I enjoy your music, and we're going to feature some music here after we speak right now. In fact, you have a brand new single. Tell us about that. Yes,
New Day. New Day is the single that I released in April on the 22nd of 2022. Very significant numbers there, 444. And so it's a new day. It's a new time. Everyone is just shifting. We've had a rough 2 years, pretty much worldwide,
right?
Adjusting to everything, but at the same time, having an opportunity to grow and to really dig deeper into purpose, self, as well as just finding your own light. And so New Day is all about that, and just the healing, and that it's newness all around us. Let's just celebrate this newness and this new day. So that's my single with George Freeman. And we have the music video out on YouTube. Would love for y'all to check out that. And my YouTube channel, you can access that right from my website as well, Brooke Alford Violin, or just go to YouTube and type in my name, Brooke Alford, and put violin on there. You will find me.
Awesome. I want to thank you for joining us today. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for inspiring. And we look forward to hearing from you again. And folks, let's get right into our music now. Here's Brooke Alford with New Day right here on Sacramento Smooth Jazz.
Thanks for listening to Sacramento Smooth Jazz. To continue listening to Smooth Jazz 24/7, follow Sac Smooth Jazz on social media and listen by going to sacsmoothjazz.fm.